Hello everyone, and back on schedule again today. This is Monday, Thursday, and I had to look up what Monday meant. It comes from the Latin word for command and refers to Jesus' commandment to the disciple to love one another as I have loved you, from John 15 verse 12. And John really gives us the best and fullest picture of the night of the Last Supper because of the beautiful encouragement and prayers full of comfort that Jesus shares with the disciples from chapters 14 to 17 in John. And I definitely recommend that you read them as well, but we'll stick with Matthew's account tonight in Matthew chapter 26 verses 17 to 30. So let's read. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" He replied, "Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, 'The teacher says, my appointed time is near. I am going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house.'" So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12, and while they were eating, he said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." They were very sad and began to say to him one after the other, "Surely you don't mean me, Lord?" Jesus replied, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born." Then Judas, the one who would betray him, said, "Surely you don't mean me, Rabbi?" Jesus answered, "You have said so." While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and he gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take it and eat, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until that day, when I drink it anew with you in my Father's kingdom." And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. What makes a meal memorable? We can probably think of all those really special birthdays or weddings or Christmases where we're sitting around the table with the people we love. And here at the Last Supper, this is also significant because of the occasion and the people. Jesus and his disciples, his closest friends, are sharing the Passover meal as part of the festival of unleavened bread, when the Jews remembered and gave thanks to God for delivering their ancestors from slavery in Egypt. The unleavened bread without any yeast, was to symbolise the Jews leaving Egypt in a hurry as to be saved, and the wine was to symbolise the sacrificial lamb's blood that they painted over their doorposts to be saved from God's judgment of the Egyptians. Now, the bread and the wine that the disciples were so used to eating and drinking in the Passover meal each year have been given a new significance by Jesus. They would both still represent God's salvation of his people, but now through Jesus and his broken body and his bloodshed and the perfect sinless sacrifice for their sin and our sin too. Jesus explains in verse 28 that the wine represents the blood of the new covenant, which is sorry, I can't read my own writing here. Yeah. The blood of the new covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. In Jeremiah 31, verse 31, the Lord promises to make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah, connecting it to the Passover and yet showing that it will be different by transforming their hearts and minds through the forgiveness of their sins. And so we see how Jesus fulfills this promise. He drinks the cup of God's wrath on our sin, the one that everyone except him deserved for breaking God's covenant, so that it would be a cup of blessing for us. Jesus gives the disciples hope, though they don't understand it, that he will overcome sin and death by promising that he will drink and celebrate with them in his Father's kingdom. If we jump to verse 64, he tells the high priest of his oncoming resurrection in his trial in the early hours of the morning after the Last Supper, when he said, "You will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven." What an awesome sight. In this strange sort of limbo waiting time that we're in at the minute, we can look back to Exodus and the covenant promise in Jeremiah and give thanks for Jesus making a new way for us to be set free and to be saved. It's what we celebrate as Christians, not only every Sunday, every communion service, but every day, as the Lord's mercies are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness.